Alright. Who broke the Capitol? Republicans did. Hee. This is Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. It was started in the 1860s by a man named John T. Ford. On the night of April 14th, 1865, which was on a Good Friday, and just days after the Civil War ended with the surrender of Lee in Appomattox, President Abraham Lincoln and his wife, Mary Todd, along with two other guests, attended this theater to watch a performance of Our American Cousin, starring Laura Keene. It was her final night, and because the president was there, over 1,000 people were in attendance, many of them soldiers back from the war. The president sat in a reserved box decorated with flags just above the stage. Depending on where you were, it may or may not have been hard for you to watch and enjoy the play. Throughout the day and into the first and second act, an actor and Confederate sympathizer who wasn't working that day named John Wilkes Booth spent his time drinking at the Star Saloon next door. He would periodically check in on the theater, waiting for the right moment to strike. During the third act, at around 10:20 p.m., Booth was seen in the back of the theater, slowly walking to the doors that led to the president's box. Once inside, he pulled out his weapon, a Philadelphia Derringer, a very tiny gun one could easily hide in one's hands. And then, he shot the president in the back of the head. Abraham Lincoln immediately lost consciousness. A struggle was then seen as one of Lincoln's guests tried to subdue Booth, but was slashed in the arm with a knife. Booth had then jumped off the balcony onto the stage. He uttered his last line on stage ever, and then ran out of the backstage to a waiting horse. So I was gonna see if I can go inside the, I guess it's called the Petersen building, but I guess I need a ticket, and I can get it across the street at Ford's, but that's a long line. That was 2013, when I was unprepared. This time, I was able to visit the Petersen building where they took the president after he was shot. It was a small boarding house, and he was taken to the room in the back, where he would lay for the next 9 hours. While he lay dying, the homeowner, Mr. Petersen, living upstairs, became upset at all the people walking in and out, making noise and leaving mud and blood everywhere. Finally, on the morning of April 15th, at 7:22 a.m., President Lincoln died. It was a shocking blow to the country and kicked off hundreds of arrests and a huge federal investigation into what happened. Then the funeral. It was a procession that traveled from D.C. to Lincoln's hometown of Springfield, Illinois, along the same route he used to attend his inaugural. Meanwhile, Booth was tracked down to a barn house in Virginia, where he would be shot and killed by a Union soldier. 4 people were ultimately executed as being part of the conspiracy, and in time, the story of Lincoln turned into legend that only grew bigger and bigger and bigger. Look at that! Spider-Man! Wow! Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this.